Hi, good day. I am Ahmad Ayajam and we are the Group 1. We will be discussing to you about the law of common carrier and the Air Passenger Bill of Rights. By the developments in our jurisprudence decision of the Supreme Court, it is a must that those in travel and tourist services and in hospitality industries in general be well informed of the laws regarding common carrier. The Civil Code of the Philippines defines that who are the common carriers are. The law also imposes the responsibility of the common carrier liable for damages. And before going into the provisions of common carrier, let us first discuss what is carrier. A carrier is a person or a corporation which undertakes to transport or convey goods or persons from one place to another, gratuitously or for hire. There are two classifications of carrier, which are the private carrier or the special carrier and the common carrier or the public carrier. For the public carrier, if one engages the services of a private carrier in a particular instances, then there is an agreement established. This agreement is called contract of private carriage. As such, the law that governs them in the ordinary contract under the Civil Code of the Philippines. The diligence required of a private carrier is only ordinary, that is, the diligence of a good father of a family. And for the common carrier, from the above definition, it is clearly provided that in order to be considered a common carrier, one must either be a person, corporation, or a firm, and that this person, corporation, or firm must be in the business of transporting either person or goods or both, and others their services to the public to conversation.
Afternoon, everyone. I am Raymond Amilo from the group. So, as what Mr. Adam stated, common carrier can be classified as the one who transport or conveys goods and people from one place to another. Here we have an examples of common carrier. Applications to Pedro de Guzman's versus CAGR number L47822 December 22, 1988. The fact here is that Ernesto Senada is a junk dealer from Pangasinan and will bring such materials to Manila for a resale. On the return of his trip, he will load his truck with various merchants where he will deliver this to different establishments in Pangasinan. The issue here is that is Ernesto Senada a common carrier? Um, the fact that he deliver a goods or passengers from Pangasinan to Manila, he is definitely Ernesto Senada is definitely a common carrier. It is overseas to the court that Ernesto Senada is a common carrier because he properly characterized to a common carrier even though he um, namely backhauled goods when he are on his trip from Manila to Pangasinan.
Hi, I'm Joanna Maria Anoya and I will be discussing about the contract of carriage or contract of public transport. When engaging the services of the common carrier, a contract is being established and that contract is called the contract of carriage or the contract of public transport. The parties herein are the passenger and the common carrier. In example, one will ride a jeepney, a bus, or a train. Then a contract is being created between the passenger and the common carrier. How could there be a contract without even having signed papers in the first place? Let's not forget that contract is created with a meeting of the minds and not a paper. In this contract, the law requires that the common carrier should carry its passengers safely as far as human care and foresight can provide. However, if the common carrier failed to perform its obligation, then the passenger can sue him or her for breach of contract and he will be held liable for the damages.
Hi, I'm Elvin Piastuto, and I will be explaining the responsibility of a common carrier and when does the contract of public carriage cease. Article 1733. Common carriers, from the nature of their business and for reasons of public policy, are bound to observe extraordinary diligence in the vigilance over the goods and for the safety of the passengers transported by them according to circumstances of each case. Article 1755. Common carrier is bound to carry the passenger safely as far as human care and foresight can provide, using the utmost diligence of very cautious person, with a due regard for all circumstances. Article 1756. If in case of death of or injuries of passengers, common carriers are presumed to have been at fault or to have acted negligently unless they prove that they observe extraordinary diligence. It is clearly stated that the common carrier is obliged to observe utmost diligence or extraordinary diligence, where utmost diligence is the highest degree of care. If the common carrier failed to exercise this kind of responsibility and the passenger suffered from any injuries and has been proven, the common carrier must be held liable for the damages. Also, once the passenger sustained and suffered from any injury or died, the common carrier is already presumed by the law to be at fault. So, in order for the common carrier to avoid these presumptions, common carrier must prove that it exercised extraordinary or utmost diligence in carrying or transporting the passenger or the goods.
When shall the common carrier commence to observe extraordinary diligence? If what has been carried by the common carrier are goods, the law provides that the duty to exercise extraordinary diligence shall commence from the time the goods are unconditionally placed in the possession of and received by the carrier for transportation until the same are delivered, actually or constructively, by the carrier to the consignee or to the person who has the right to receive them. So, extraordinary diligence is the extreme care that a person of unusual prudence exercises to secure rights or property. The extraordinary liability of the common carrier continues to be operative even during the time the goods are stored in a warehouse of the carrier at the place of destination until the consignee has been advised of the arrival of the goods and has had reasonable opportunity thereafter to remove them or otherwise dispose of them.
As to passenger, just by stepping and standing on the platform of the bus, one will be considered already as a passenger, and he or she will be entitled for all the rights and protection pertaining to such contract. Also, common carriers are bound to observe extraordinary diligence in the vigilance over the goods and safety of the passengers being transported by them in accordance to all circumstances of each cases.
When does the contract of public carriage cease? According to the rule, the relation of the carrier and the passenger does not cease at the moment passenger alights from the carrier's vehicle at a place selected by the carrier at the point or destination and continues until the passenger has a reasonable time or a reasonable opportunity to leave the carrier's premises. A reasonable time or a reasonable delay within this rule can be determined from all circumstances. Thank you.
Illustrative case: spouses Dante Cruz and Leonora Cruz versus Sun Holidays Inc. So Ruelito Cruz and his wife contracted a package tour with Sun Holidays Inc. The latter owns and operates Beach Island Resort in a boat named MB Coco Beach 3 for their guests. The package tour includes the transportation of the couples from Port of Batangas to Beach Island Resort in Puerto Galera and vice versa. The couple stayed in the said resort from September 9 to 11, 2000. Ruelito and his wife boarded the boat MB Coco Beach 3 of Sun Holidays to ferry them back to Batangas. After the boat sailed, it started to rain and wind got stronger, causing the boat to tilt side to side. MB Coco Beach 3 capsized, putting all passengers, including the Ruelito and his wife, underwater. As a consequence, 8 passengers died, including Ruelita and his wife. The parents of Ruelita filed a case against Sun Holidays Inc. for damages and breach of contract of common carriage. Sun Holidays denied that it is not common carrier. It raises the defense that while they own a boat, the same is not available to the general public but only for the resort guests and crew members. So, is Sun Holidays Inc. a common carrier? Yes, the Supreme Court held that Sun Holidays Inc. is a common carrier because its ferry service are so intertwined with its main business as to be properly considered ancillary thereto. The constancy of its ferry services in its resort operations is underscored by its having its own Cocoa Beach boats, and tour packages it offers, which include the ferry services, may be availed by anyone who can afford to pay the same. These services are thus available to the public. So the operator of beach resort that offers their own mode of transportation is a common carrier, therefore it has the duty to observe extraordinary diligence.
For our second slide, we have that common carrier are liable for the acts of their employees. So, common carrier are liable for the death or injuries of the passengers through the negligence or willful acts of the former employees. Although such employees may have acted beyond the scope of their authority or violations of the orders of the common carrier. So it is in the law of the common carrier that the one who transported the goods and the passengers have the responsibility to do a extra mile or extraordinary diligence to ensure the safety and comfortability of the goods and passenger throughout the transportation time. So, to sum it up, either public carrier or private carrier, one must ensure the safety and comfortability of the goods and the passengers or the persons that they transported. Hospitality and tourism sectors must ensure that they instructed all their employees regarding or about the laws of the common carrier to avoid complications. Then and to avoid complications and the smooth run of the business. Common carrier is responsible to execute extraordinary diligence, and it is to ensure the safety of the goods and the passengers, and that the common carrier are liable to ensure the safety from the time the goods and the passenger and are placed in one possession and received by the warehouse. Or for the passengers, they are about two, or the passengers are in their desired places.